So welcome back to another video. Today we are going to give Tessie a real good upgrade of her anchor system. And the reason for that is because the old present system is not really good for a smooth use. So let me show you what's on her now, and let me show you what's gonna come on Tessie. So the first issue with this setup is, as you can see, the gennaker pole is coming through the anchor because of the arch here. So when my gennaker is set and I'm coming into an anchorage, and then I have to retract the pole to be able to get the anchor down. You can't have the gennaker permanently set with this system. And another annoying thing is when I let the anchor go, I have to push it out with my foot, and then it touches the furler. So I have to push it out like that. And when I take the anchor in, it's stuck. So I have to give it a good jolt or push like this, back and forth. Now. And then it again touches the furler. And to make the anchor fast while sailing, I need to have this bolt here. And to get the bolt in, the anchor needs to be perfectly aligned with the hole, and that's not very easy. So in a tight anchor space with a lot of wind, you don't have a lot of time, so that could be tricky at times. Taking on and off the snubber line to relieve chain load from the anchor winch is also tricky, but that will soon be history later in this video. And if you enjoy both equipment updates and sailing adventures, maybe you should considering subscribing to my channel and leave a like and a comment. Let's see what we got here. First step was to swap out Tessie's 50-meter galvanized chain with a brand new 80-meter stainless steel chain. It's a lot of chain. A huge thanks to the Norwegian boat equipment store Seatronic for setting me up with the equipment being installed in this video. I hope it's room for everything in Tessie and that she is afloat after this. The old chain was removed from the anchor locker to give room for the new one. She's getting 80 meters of 316 stainless steel, so that's gonna give me a whole new area of anchoring, because I can anchor in deeper water and I can anchor in stronger winds, being safe, knowing that I have enough chain out. So now we're gonna fill the anchor locker with the chain. So now 80 meters of chain looks like this, and it's much less than I anticipated. It does not take up a lot of room, and I think it's about 100 kilos of chain here. Perfect. So let's check out what's in the box here. So now with the old anchor removed, let's introduce you to the new one. This is a 20 kilo quick Olympic anchor like this, and it's absolutely beautiful, stainless steel, and it's gonna look perfect on the bow of Tessie. But before we install the anchor, I want to test it on a beach. Luckily, I knew about the perfect spot for the test. This is Finalizing beach, a 20-minute drive from my hometown. And I brought some nice company for the event. Okay, welcome to Finalizing strand or beach here on Karmøy, just outside Haugesund. And me and Silje are here to test the anchor hold. So the plan is to first test it in dry sand, and after that test it in wet sand. That's a big difference. So with no further ado, let's try.
Test the anchor.
Test the anchor. Okay, so I'm gonna take the rope here and we'll go way back. So now it's in dry sand and the anchor has left the boat and hit the bottom, lying like this, tips over, boat starts pulling and it drags deep in down to the sand. Oh. I'm pulling with full force now. That's it. You want to try, Silja?
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
It's
That's
a
not
no.
going anywhere.
It's a no.
So this is the deepest I managed to dig it down, and it's stuck. And now we're going to simulate that the wind is suddenly shifting and the boat is drifting across the anchor to the other side of the bay, and the anchor has to turn around. And this is what's cool with the Olympic anchor. It's designed to turn around and reposition itself because of the weight ratio in the anchor. So let's try.
Ooh, it's a lot.
Okay, so the wind is shifting. Tessie is drifting over the anchor. And it starts pulling on the anchor. Turns over. And now the weight ratio will keep the anchor upright. And it's completely stuck. And when we're done anchoring, we will position the boat exactly over the anchor and start pulling, and it should come up easily like this. So now this is in dry sand, so let's test it out in the wet sand. Come on! Okay, pulling. That's it. I think that's it. And with the anchor being stainless steel and polished, the sand just slides easily off it.
You tired?
Yeah, that's about all I had. So yes, perfect test. Definitely a strong hold on the anchor. Let's head back to my boat dock.
Yay!
So the way things are now, there's no way this is gonna fit in here. It's way too big, and it's just a terrible setup right now. So what we need is an anchor roller, and a chunky one. We need something like this. Wow, this is a chunky piece of iron, stainless steel, 316 all the way. So as the chain from the winch comes out on the starboard side of the winch, we need to use the starboard side of the bow. But this is here from the generator sprit. So this needs to go on the other side, and then we have to fit this here. But then we also have to remove this and this. I will probably need to cut some out of this track here. So let's go nuts with the angle grinder. There we go. So now I'm working on getting this off, and I have to pry it off. It's glued to the deck, so I need to do it carefully.
The whale track came off relatively easy, using a lot of grinding and hammering. I felt bad doing this to the old girl, but it was at least for a very good cause. I think Tessie will forgive me when she sees the final end result.
So now I cleared most of the stuff here so I can fit the anchor roll. But it interferes with the bolt for the forestay, so we need to cut out this piece. Try to do this as nice as possible. So now I hope it fits. Yes. So now we have full access to the bolt here. Let's patch up the holes with some epoxy or whatever you call it.
I sanded and evened out the hardened epoxy surface to prepare for some protective paint before starting on the installment of the anchor roller.
So now I need to drill holes in the anchor roller. One here, and one third one here. So now painted, it's dry. That looks pretty good. Now the chain is pretty good aligned with the roller. So now we need to drill holes there, there and there.
A thick layer of epoxy was also applied to the roller's underside, as the deck surface on the bow is a bit curved and uneven.
Should be enough.
This will eventually create a steady platform when the epoxy hardens.
Some extra sealant, not that we need it. If it's a leak, it's just gonna go down the anchor locker anyway. So now it's time to screw the bolts fast, and I put this, I'm alone now, so I have to put this like this and go under and screw. And it's a terrible place down there. Tell me if you have been in tighter spaces than this. This is all the way into the bow, as far as you can get to reach those nuts. Oh, easy peasy.
Final step was to install the Janoker bowsprit onto the other side of the forestay. My good friend Anders made sure both the bowsprit and anchor roller was all welded up with extra supported brackets.
So now my good buddy Anders has welded all this. So the bowsprit is going nowhere now, stuck as hell. Alright, day, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now Tessie is ready. The anchor roller has been welded, one under here to support this side of it. If the anchor gets stuck on the bottom and the winch is not powerful enough to pull it up, you might need to put the boat in gear and try to pull the anchor up with the force of and weight of the boat, going forward or backwards. So then you need the anchor roller to be very strong. And now I think it is. So the chain now goes to the anchor here, and we need a swivel to connect the chain to the anchor. And the swivel here is designed to turn the anchor around when you pull it up to the anchor roller. These set screws need to be released. And we also need to apply some Loctite that came with the package. So according to the manual, it says that the swivel is going on with the quick logo up like this. There we go. So that's on pretty well now. And we pull the trigger. So let's just provoke it a little bit, take it all the wrong way here. That's it. Slides easily out by itself. And also made this pulley system to secure the anchor when it's not in use, to relieve the stress of the winch and the chain. So now it's all going to the pulley. So this is for anti-vibration if the anchor vibrates when you go by motor, and this keeps it steady. Wow, that looks pretty good to me. So now, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, we're going to go for a ride and we're going to test it in one of my favorite bays. Let's go. Perfect.
We set sail for the Anchorage, only a 2-hour journey away southwards. In sunny, calm weather, this was the perfect day for the test. Sailing inshore along the archipelago of Kamsunde, or Norwegen, the ancient Viking route.
So we're soon here, just around the corner here now.
Deep inside the archipelago, I knew of the perfect bay with a sandy seabed to be used for the test. Could you figure out where this is?
That's our anchor spot. So before I anchored in that bay in there, that was 8 meters and it was very tight and not so much space. So when the wind picked up, you know, I felt nervous and I was a little bit stressed. But now we can anchor in this bay. It's much bigger and it's 20 meters and that was too deep for the old anchor setup. But now we have almost 80 meters with chain, so 20 meters in this weather is no problem. Not even if the wind picks up. I think we will be pretty safe in 15-20 meters. So now we'll go to anchor mode on the chart plotter. We're now in the middle of the bay, wind on the bow, and let's prepare the anchor. I'm letting the anchor down just above the surface and I will reposition a little bit. Okay, anchor is ready, position is okay, and I have this cool display from Quick which is letting me auto drop the anchor. Now it's set to 60 meters and if I push this now, there we go. Now it goes down 60 meters. And then I set start anchor on this one, depth 18.7. I'm just backing up a little bit to stretch the chain. 53 meters. $60 meters. It's a lot to do, filming and anchoring and everything at once. And we're not moving. So now the anchor alarm is on the chart plotter. 60 meters out, 20 meters depth here, and I think it looks great. What a place to be. Wow. And I also have this remote controller which is connected to a wireless box inside the boat, and you can take the anchor up and down very easily. And now we have to put on a snugger or snubber or what you call it to take the load off the winch and transfer it to one of the bullards. I'm just cutting in there to show you how the snubber works. I didn't quite get it when I was out in the bay, so take a look. So the first thing is to put the snubber ends on the bullards, and then I can put the snubber line on here from deck level, and I can lower the chain. So the chain is removed and hanging onto the snubber now. And then I take it up again, and you will see that the snubber is disconnecting by itself. Perfect. So now let's check the anchor with my underwater drone.
I use the drone a lot for different underwater purposes. But checking the anchor hold is always exciting, as you never know what to expect to find on the seabed. The anchor chain usually seems to dig into the sand, making it hard to spot, but it leaves some trails on the surface to follow. The trails will at some point lead you to the anchor. It's just as cool every time the anchor pops up, and I can investigate how it sits on the seabed. Surprisingly, it sat perfectly straight up and down without even digging into the sand.
So that's how the anchor sits when I have not backed up the boat to pull the anchor. So now I'm gonna back up with using about 1500 RPMs on the engine, and we'll see how the anchor sits then. So the boat has stopped completely. We're now pulling with 1800 RPMs. So let's see how the anchor sits now.
Now the chain seemed to have disappeared into the sand only after a few meters. I could not find the anchor anywhere, meaning it probably has dug in deep into the sand, out of sight, in which I believe is very good news.
Okay, so I think that's it for the anchor installation and test, and I'm really happy with it. It seems so solid and strong now. So I can't wait to sail to Lindisfarne in a few weeks to drop the anchor just outside the castle there, and then off to Edinburgh and Aberdeen to have my lecture. I think the place will be full. It's in a church in Aberdeen, and it can take 120 people, and I think it's full. And then Amsterdam later in August. So thanks again for watching. Remember, t-shirts, check out my t-shirts, NBJS merch under the video here, or link in video description. And if you want the NBJS Burgie to fly on your boat, you can just send me an email to post@nbjs.no. And if you want to become my patron, you are very welcome to support with any amounts you want, and PayPal as well. And check me out on Facebook and Instagram, and yeah, I will see you later. Bye.